Three, two, one. We're live. Okay, everyone, welcome to another session of Music Matters with Ev. And I'm really pleased to say that I have someone in our studio, which I often refer to him as the Chris Rea, but with a lot more cool of music. So apologies to all the Chris Rea fans, but this is David Harris. And welcome, Dave, to our session today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Good, good. So without any further ado, Dave, if you could just tell us who you are.
Sure. Well, I'm Dave. I've been playing guitar for a long time, since I was 13, and I got a surprise a Christmas present, which was a guitar. And I never really took it very seriously for years until I started an ambition to write songs. And I never did complete anything. I started off loads of ideas and they were just scribbles, really. But then I attended a summer boot camp at Bath Spa University with the UK Songwriting Festival. And we spent a week there learning the craft of songwriting. And that helped me enormously. It helped me finish a song for a start. And since then, I've written 5 albums and published them on my own website. Okay. And having my own tunes to play and record has prompted me to learn more about the guitar and how to play it. So at the moment, I'm working on some new material with a view to publish it very soon. And
so hold on, that's a very good introduction to who you are, and learning guitar from such a young age. Those of us who know your music, we can testify to that is where it all comes from. The fruition is there. And so prior to this year, prior to 2020, what were you doing actively in music and songwriting?
Well, I've worked all my life, fortunately, but I retired 4 years ago, and because I wanted to travel, but also I wanted to write, and I reached a time when I could retire, so I went to live in Thailand, and from there I would travel around Asia, and sometimes I'd take my guitar with me, which was an inspiration. But I always took my notebook so I could scribble down lyrics, any thoughts that came to mind, anything that inspired me about some of the amazing places I was seeing. And then when I got back home to my place in Thailand, in Phuket, I would spend a lot of time writing and recording because, well, that's what I wanted to do. And I've been happily doing that since I retired from work.
So just one question. On is it Southern Asia? What is the music atmosphere like in there?
Well, it's where I live in Phuket is a very touristy area. So there's lots of, bar music, which is basically mainstream pop and rock, and there's a lot of Filipino bands play. They're very professional and very proficient, and they do the standard covers, everything from the Cranberries to the Eagles, and there's no prejudice about playing anything popular because they're playing for bar audiences or hotels or restaurants. But for me, I was fortunate to meet a bunch of musicians, and one of my neighbours has a studio where we jam every week, and we get to play occasionally at some bars, and it introduced me to more rock and blues, traditional stuff that everybody would know. Some The Thrill Is Gone, Need Your Love So Bad, some the Allman Brothers, a bit of the Stones, lots of the Stones. So that's taken me to a place which I wanted to go, but which was outside of my comfort zone, playing electric guitar, rhythm, and a little bit of lead. So that's how I spent my time performing.
So in terms of, that's very good insight for us. In terms of your own songs, how did you manage to bring any of those to the fore in these venues?
Well, yes, I was pleasantly surprised that the band wanted to hear some songs I'd written, and we have performed a few when we've been on stage. But also, there are open mic places where I live, and that's given me more chance when I'm working solo to perform my own original songs, just with an acoustic guitar.
Excellent. So here we are. We probably go back a little bit to and fro, but let's take it now to this year. How has that impacted your functionality in music and your output?
Well, as far as performing is concerned, it's completely stopped it. And I've been back in England since March. I came back last March to sort out some business, and I found I was staying longer than I planned because of the COVID situation. I'm hoping to be able to go back in January or perhaps February, depending on how long it takes. But yes, I was looking forward to the possibility of playing live in Bristol. But as you probably know, it's almost impossible to play anywhere live at the moment. I did meet up with some bandmates that we used to play back in Bristol when I was here, and I was hoping we could get together for a jam and perhaps even perform somewhere, an open mic or something. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened. But what it has given me is the plenty of time to write the new album I was mentioning, a little more stripped back than what I usually do, more acoustic guitar and less instrumentation, a little barer than what I often do. But it's given me lots of time to do that. Also, time to write some new ideas and develop some new musical pieces.
So you haven't wasted the opportunity of having time to write, which is key to your functionality as a singer-songwriter. And so in terms of the environment that you find yourself in, are you at a stable base, or are you moving around because of?
Well, I'm stable now. I've been here in this place for 3 months, and I found this place. It's great because it's meant that I could stay put without having to literally live out of a suitcase. I stayed with my daughter for about 3 months at the beginning of this COVID situation, but of course, once Airbnb opened up again, that meant I couldn't start moving. And but I've been stable in this one place for 3 months now, and I've enjoyed the fact that I could settle and open my suitcase and unpack.
That's good, and that's good for creativity as well, because it means your mind's free to concentrate on your creative efforts. Okay, great.
Well, exactly.
So what would you advise? Sorry, not advise. Let's not go to the advice yet. The near future. What do you envisage of the near future?
Musically?
Yes.
Well, I'm writing a new website. I've had a website for some time now, but I've changed platforms, and I'm just in between switching the old one off and switching the new one on. So I'm mastering the songs and ready for launch, basically. So then I can finish that, because the drawback of having so much time available is that you spend probably more time than you normally would do, which has meant that I've been able to add those little triangles at the second minute of the piece, and which is probably over egging the pudding. But that's okay, because I can, and that's all right. I've got new material which I've been writing, and I've been deliberately trying to make it more American style with American themes, because I wanted to get it out of my system so that I could. Obviously, you know, American music is a huge, massive influence on us, and that's fine. But I wanted to deliberately do a set of songs which weren't strictly, you know, rhythm and blues or traditional blues necessarily, but which were obviously American themes lyrically as well as musically. So that's my next project, and I've got a bunch of ideas now that I need to develop and record with a view to publishing it next year.
Excellent. So in terms of the fact that there are no opportunities at the moment for live performing, have you increased your online performance arena, say?
Well, not really. I haven't really explored this. I have been invited to some home song. One of my friends, David Fee, who he runs a regular lunchtime spot where people can perform 4 or 5 songs. Initially, it was difficult because I didn't have any gear with me. So I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have a guitar at first. And I didn't have the technology to actually plug in and play. But that's an area I've wanted to try, because I haven't been able to perform in a live setting.
Okay, thanks for that. And now, what advice would you give to anyone thinking of taking up the creative art of music and venturing out?
Very simply, just do it.
The Nike symbol.
I know it's probably a cliche and it's easily said, but really, I mean, as I said, I've had a career not in music, but I've always been involved in it. I've always loved it, and I've always wanted to spend more of my time doing just that, which I'm now happily in that position. But you know, many people have to work, so they can juggle their time. And I would just say, if anybody wants to play, then certainly you can. There's a structure that you probably need to follow, which is a practice regime, which will give you a time and a target. So book a spot somewhere when it's possible. Pick a set, you know, 3 songs, 5, more and more as it goes along. Focus on those songs you love. Play them, practice them, play with friends, and ideally perform with friends. And once you get into that routine, you get more comfortable and confident to do new stuff, which you might not normally do.
True. Very good advice. Thank you. And in terms of your musical output, where can we find your music?
Well, it's on the internet. I've got a website which I can give you. It's it's very simple. It's daveharrismusic.co.uk. Sorry, .uk.
Just .uk.
daveharrismusic.uk.
daveharrismusic.uk. Okay,
yes.
That's interesting. I don't understand. I myself have gone into more online stuff as we're doing this now. I've not seen the UK, or I don't know how you come across the UK end to your website. I presume that's a choice given to you by the hoster?
Yes, yeah. You can pick any suffix like .com, .co.uk. There's a whole bunch now that are available, even .music, .net, and they vary in price, but it's I thought it was difficult. I mean, I have worked in IT. That's been my professional area, so I was comfortable with that. But you get a website name from a hosting service, and you can subscribe to a website development platform like Wix is a very easy one, very common, very affordable. And from there, you can develop a website, and so that you have an online presence. I would say, going back to one of your questions, the thing I wanted to do next is to do more. Well, I suppose blogging about songwriting and about techniques, simple techniques, not nothing too complicated, but simple things about the craft of songwriting, like what constitutes typically a popular, successful song. 3 minutes, verse, chorus, middle, and that kind of thing. So I do hope to do that once I've got my new website, is to do more broadcasting along those lines.
I think that's a very good idea. And you mentioned the topic of songwriting, which is very subjective. And I've not read many books on the subject, but like yourself and many other musicians who are singer-songwriters, we each find what works for us in terms of how to attempt the activity. And we also learn from hearing others' approach. So I think you will find that blog will be very popular once you start it. And
I hope so, yeah.
Yes, definitely. And something to add to what you mentioned about just doing it and basically getting out there and seeing what happens. I remember hearing about the song by Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And when it was first tabled as a single, I think the story went that the record labels felt that it wasn't going to be successful because it was too long and it was too different to what the norm was. And I think if I'm right in remembering that it's either the first or the second most successful single in pop history. So,
yeah.
You don't know until you try, even though those in the know may be advising otherwise. So, yeah,
exactly.
I definitely go on.
Just to say that regarding the techniques of songwriting, yeah, they are kind of rules, but also you can break the mold and do something completely different, and that song is a perfect example of breaking the mold. When most contemporary pop hits of the day were 3.5 minutes, almost factory produced, 3.5 minutes to the dot. And I know that was one of the famous examples of the record label saying, "No, this is nuts. You can't put out a song that long." Guess what? Look what happened.
I'm good. Exactly. I'm going to give the viewers background into how I met you, because we're talking about songwriting. And I remember I attended an open mic in Long Ashton, and the artist who's a friend of ours was performing at the time one of her songs, Tina Prukino.
Yes.
And I was intrigued and fascinated by the simplicity of the music underlying the song, but the profoundness of the lyrics. So I went and commented to her afterwards and her husband, and I said, that was awesome, because just 4 notes on a piano and then those words, and you've got a song, and kept us engaged. And then I ended up performing alongside you and Tina in her band. And then through you and her, I understood that you both attended songwriting weekends and things like that.
Yes.
And then obviously hearing some of your stuff as well, which is equally intriguing and interesting. And it's just a lovely way to become associated with people of like mind and like experience. So I just wanted to drop that in. And I've been, as I said, I've been intrigued by your stuff, and it's almost like you don't know, you're intrigued by what's coming next. And so I thought, you know what, we need to talk to David Harris about his musical outputs and what can we expect.
Yes. Well, while you're on that point, do you remember, everyone listening, Everton's performed some saxophone on several of the tracks that I did from one album.
Yes, yes, I remember.
And it added a wonderful layer and texture to the songs, which I wouldn't normally have thought about if I didn't know Everton.
Because, thank you, Dave.
You know, I mean, musicians, although there's lots of people playing, it's often very difficult to connect with the musicians and to play together that way.
Yeah, I enjoyed that time. Okay, so I'm looking forward to more. And I'm also looking forward to the new blog. I'm looking forward to the new material. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you continue. Obviously, we're all going to try and continue with some sort of creative output, irrespective of what constraints we're up against. It's in us. We need to do it. So
yes, indeed, yeah.
All right. So here is the fun question, which I've asked everyone who's taken part in these interviews. David, if 2020 were a person, what would you say to him or her?
Oh, wow. What did I ever do to you?
Fantastic. There you go.
Oh God, I hadn't thought about that. I must admit, it's been. I've been fortunate insofar as I've been able to find somewhere to stay. It's been great because I'm kind of stuck. My home is back in Thailand, but well, what do? You've got to be philosophical about it. Because the immigration rules in Thailand have changed just at the end of November, which meant that I was able to apply to go back again. But up until that time, you know, you're kind of stuck. So it's, I suppose, philosophically, you've just got to take it and try and make the best out of a bad situation. So at least I've pulled a new album of songs out of it. Finished it. I mean, some of them started long before, but I've been able to finish and do actual writing and recording in a way which I hadn't previously done. And so that's been a great product of the period for me.
Excellent. All right. Well, David, you have provided us with the last interview on Music Matters with Ev for 2020. So hopefully we'll be looking forward to more, and definitely we'd like to have you on again, because obviously as your activities continue and progress, we'd like to keep in touch and keep the listeners and viewers engaged in what you're doing as well. So we wish you all the best for 2021, and thank you again for taking the time out to spend with us here. Is there any lasting words you want to leave with us?
Well, thanks for inviting me on, Everton. I really appreciate it. I would just say, musically, if you've got an ambition, just give yourself a target and work towards it. Modest, simple, keep it simple, a bunch of songs, and when we're open again, go and play somewhere.
Oh, excellent. That's it for Music Matters with Ev. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Everton. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.